Sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman?
Did you realize it's been almost 7 years since Blade was officially announced? And somehow, it's still one of the most cursed projects Marvel has ever had. Blade has been stuck in full-on development hell this entire time. Writers kept changing, directors got swapped out 3 different times, and filming never actually started. The closest they ever got was back in 2023, when Marvel confirmed production would kick off in several European locations, including London. That version of the movie was supposed to explore the European side of the MCU, and even directly continue the post-credits scene from Eternals. But as we all know, none of that happened. Filming never began. And to put it in perspective, projects that weren't even announced back then have already been fully shot and released. Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four made it out. Blade is still stuck at the starting line, and this is despite the fact that Eternals already teased Blade's proper MCU arrival in its post-credits scene. Mahershala Ali was locked into the role from day one, and he's openly talked multiple times about how much he wants to make this movie. He's passionate about it, he's been pushing for it. But his more recent interviews sounded way less optimistic. At one point, he straight up hinted that if things keep dragging on like this, he might walk away from the project. Originally, Blade was meant to start shooting in London, with that Eternals tease serving as the narrative launch point. Kit Harington was supposed to return as Black Knight, and the movie would show how Blade actually fits into the MCU, how he survives in this reality, and how the supernatural side starts to take shape. That was the plan, but then, just days ago, new reports started dropping. Variety, along with multiple insiders like Jeff Snyder, all reported the same thing. Blade hasn't been cancelled exactly, but the solo movie has been scrapped. Instead, Marvel seems to be pivoting hard toward a crossover right away. Midnight Suns, a live-action team movie where Blade plays a central role, possibly even the leader of the entire group. This wouldn't be a small appearance either. Blade would be the backbone of the supernatural corner of the MCU. Alongside him, characters like Ghost Rider are expected to show up. Elsa Bloodstone is likely in the mix. Werewolf by Night is another strong candidate. And don't forget Black Knight. Kit Harington's character fits perfectly into this lineup and was already teased years ago. All the pieces are there. The only real question is timing. Midnight Suns is a huge, ambitious idea because it finally opens the door to the supernatural side of the MCU in a serious way. Back in the Infinity Saga, each franchise explored a different genre. Thor leaned into fantasy, Captain America was political and espionage-driven, Iron Man defined the entire saga's tone, Guardians went full retro sci-fi, every movie brought something new to the table. But once Marvel entered the multiverse era, even though the concepts were bigger, everything started to feel kind of the same. Multiverse of Madness is a perfect example. So much wild stuff happened in that movie, yet a lot of people already forgot that John Krasinski showed up as Reed before Pedro Pascal was ever cast, or that Patrick Stewart returned as Professor X long before any Avengers Doomsday tease. The multiverse was supposed to expand everything, but instead it blurred it all together. Marvel even experimented with strange ideas like Blade Knight in Marvel Zombies. There were plans for more weird, genre-bending projects like that, but most of them got quietly dropped. Avengers Doomsday, according to the Russo brothers, is being framed as a soft sequel to Endgame. There's even a wild theory floating around that Doctor Doom might essentially be a twisted reflection of Tony Stark, complete with scars from the snap. But while the multiverse dominates the spotlight, the supernatural side of the MCU has been quietly sitting there, half-built. The Disney Plus specials were supposed to be the foundation. Werewolf by Night was a cool experiment, even if it was short and a bit muted. Moon Knight is still sitting right there, and he fits the Midnight Suns lineup better than almost any other team. That character feels made for this corner of the MCU. And then there's Mephisto, who technically already debuted in Ironheart, played by Sacha Baron Cohen. The moment was awkward and kind of cringe, but the character is officially in the universe now. Dormammu is another huge missed opportunity. He debuted almost 10 years ago and has been completely ignored ever since, despite being a genuinely interesting villain who would fit perfectly into a darker, supernatural storyline. If Dormammu ever comes back, Midnight Suns would honestly be the best place to do it. WandaVision flirted with supernatural ideas too, but it was always more of an experiment. And the ending completely killed its momentum. That finale pretty much ruined all the fan theories and hype. Wanda's story already feels wrapped up, even if it ended with an ellipsis. She doesn't really belong in Midnight Suns at this point, but there are still plenty of villains who would, and if Blade's solo movie really were folded into Midnight Suns, that actually tracks. Right now, it's unclear whether Mahershala Ali is still fully locked into the role long-term. In Marvel Zombies, Ali didn't voice the character even though the design was clearly based on him. That was technically Blade's second appearance, and he wasn't even involved. Still, if the solo Blade movie really is gone, it's hard not to feel disappointed. Reports said the script was finally in a good place and officially approved. But after so many reboots and delays, it's starting to feel like we may never get a classic Blade origin film. At the same time, Midnight Suns could be massive. This is the kind of project that could absolutely destroy at the box office if Marvel gets it right. They just need the right director, someone who can actually lean into horror, occult visuals, and darker themes without watering them down. Marvel is gonna need that after Secret Wars. Once Doom and the whole multiverse storyline wraps up, nostalgia alone won't cut it anymore. They'll need bold, creator-driven projects to keep things fresh. Midnight Suns feels like a perfect post-Secret Wars movie. Darker, stranger, maybe even slightly paranormal. If Marvel embraces horror elements instead of running from them, this could be something special, a real genre shift. And yeah, it could make an insane amount of money too. Personally, I still wish Marvel hadn't scrapped the Blade solo movie. The slower build-up made more sense. Start with Blade. Moon Knight is already established. Werewolf by Night exists. Add a Ghost Rider origin movie, then bring everyone together. Black Knight already debuted in Eternals. That felt like a cleaner strategy. But Marvel has been leaning aggressive lately, like they did with Thunderbolts. Throw everyone together first and explain later. That's probably the route they'll take here too. We'll see how it plays out. Apparently, Marvel might scrap the solo film altogether and take a completely different approach, launching a full-on Midnight Suns crossover with Blade as the central character. Basically, he'd become a darker version of Nick Fury, assembling a team of supernatural defenders. And honestly, that idea makes a lot of sense. Blade's voice shows up in the Eternals post-credits scene when Black Knight reaches for the Ebony Blade, interrupted by Blade himself. Picking up from that exact moment feels like the most logical move. Black Knight could be the first official recruit. From there, Blade could track down Elsa Bloodstone, then bring in Werewolf and Man-Thing. Marvel already laid the groundwork. Thunderbolts proved audiences are open to darker team-ups with morally grey characters. Marvel definitely noticed that response. Midnight Suns could be the next big team project, with Blade as the leader holding everything together. Reports say the script is already being reworked by Michael Green, the same writer behind Logan and the shelved Blade solo script. No director is attached yet, but Kevin Feige recently mentioned wanting to work with Sam Raimi again. That single comment set off a wave of speculation, and honestly, Raimi directing Midnight Suns makes way too much sense. Horror visuals, demons, occult vibes, that's his lane. It's also worth remembering that Multiverse of Madness wasn't supposed to be a Raimi film originally. Scott Derrickson planned a much darker sequel with Nightmare as the main villain. Wanda was meant to slowly fall to the dark side instead of starting there. Creative differences killed that version, Nightmare was cut, and the movie took a completely different direction. Derrickson even hinted that his long-term plans involved Midnight Suns, with Doctor Strange originally positioned as the team leader. Early rumors suggested Wanda and Demon Chthon would be the main villains of Midnight Suns, but that idea never made it past development. Now Blade seems locked in as the leader. In many ways, Midnight Suns is shaping up to be Blade's movie, just like Civil War was secretly a full Avengers film. Marvel already has release dates mapped out through 2028 and 2029, including a mysterious November slot that could easily belong to Midnight Suns. After Secret Wars, Marvel needs something bold. Right now, the spotlight is on Avengers and the multiverse, but the X-Men are clearly coming next. Rumors even say Ryan Reynolds is helping shape their future tone, somewhere between Deadpool and Logan. Marvel is moving away from its old formula, and honestly, that's a good thing. Genre variety, director-driven projects, and even full-on superhero horror are exactly what the MCU needs right now. Midnight Suns could be the perfect place to prove Marvel still has surprises left.